Well, good morning, YouTube. All right, guys, if you've watched the channel for a while, it's no surprise to you that I really like these WattCycle batteries. Now, about a year and a half ago, I started working with WattCycle, and they sent me one of these 12-volt, 100 amp hour batteries, and I actually did a teardown on it. I actually cut the whole thing open. Actually, I'm pretty sure I used a heat gun and melted it open, right? Disassembled the whole thing, ran a whole bunch of tests. And I was pleasantly surprised at how well the build quality was on that battery, especially for a battery that's very budget friendly. Now, there's a lot of good batteries on the market. Some of them are stupid expensive. If you guys remember back just a few years ago, there was a big name battery company on the market. We're not going to mention their name, but to buy a 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery was $1,000. And that was just insane. Now that's got less than the $200 price point, and it is a fantastic build quality. It will do everything that that ridiculously high price battery back in the days would do. And as you saw in that video, and I'll put a link to that in the description if you want, we put that battery through some testing. We did capacity tests, we did the teardown test, we checked the low temperature disconnect and so on and so forth, and it passed every test that I could throw at it. And then WattCycle stepped up their game and sent me the next battery. And that was this 300 amp hour 12 volt monster, which you saw me build a portable power station out of it last November. We took it to a trade show and used it as a power supply, and it performed fantastically. Then we came home and we actually built a deck on the back of my house, and I used this power station as the sole source of power to run the circular saw and everything. On that same charge, we charged it up to take it to the expo up in Marlborough, Massachusetts, and we never had to recharge it. And then I did a second capacity test on it at that point, and we'd only used about half of its capacity, which was really, really amazing. Now, before we go too far in this video, I do want to let you guys know I am recording this with my brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max. And unfortunately, when I went to go hook the microphone up to it, I realized that I don't have the proper plug to go from this to the new iPhone because it doesn't use Lightning. So I'm hoping that the audio is reasonably good on this. And if not, I do apologize. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a WattCycle fanboy by any means, but I do have a fascination with the whole lithium iron phosphate chemistry and its uses in off-grid solar systems and even RV systems. Even though this isn't my main focus of business, this is something that actually interests me. And that's why I do these videos. We've got a full build series on off-grid Goliath, where I took that RV system and changed it using lithium batteries and off-grid inverters and so on and so forth. And it's really been beneficial. And I know that a lot of people like to use these batteries in off-grid and RV situations. And like that 100 amp hour 12 volt, that is like the perfect, just direct drop in, almost no modifications, fits in the same spot as most of these typical RV batteries. But if you really wanted to step up your game, you can move into these larger batteries and actually have a lot more stored energy for longer durations off grid. But now I think WattCycle's outdone themselves because the new generation of battery that they've sent me, I've got to show you, is pretty impressive. This is big news. I don't mean big just in like the news big. This battery is big. This is massive. I've never seen anything quite this size in this category of battery. All right, guys, and I will unbox it with you. I've cut the tape and peeked inside, but I have not unboxed it yet. So typical to WattCycle, and WattCycle always does a fantastic job with the packing and the materials. That's a little different. Got some battery terminal protectors, different than what I've seen before. And of course, plenty of battery terminals. Oh, wow. Look at the size of this thing. All right. So we're looking at 12.8 volts at 628 amp hours. This thing is huge. So huge that when I tried to load it into the truck, I almost hurt myself. Now, it clearly says on the box, the team lift, but I was by myself. So I picked it up by myself, loaded it into the back of the truck, and then had to unload it in here. And actually Talon unloaded it in here for me yesterday. And even he was like, wow, I move stuff for a living. And this thing is heavy. But let me get it the rest of the way, unbox it up here on the countertop so we can check it out even further. Okay, very, very different format. Instead of being in a plastic case, this is in a metal case. It's screwed together. Void if the seal is broken. We're probably going to void the warranty on this. But yeah, this is really cool. It's almost like a server rack battery, but not. Very big, robust battery terminals here on the outside. Very, very nice. By the way, it's a smart battery, which is cool. All right, and it comes with this quality control sheet that I don't think I've ever noticed with any of the other WattCycle batteries. And it just goes through all these little checklists like the product load, see, commode test, dielectric voltage test, packing, buttons, and it passes all the tests. And what's really cool is if you read Chinese, you can read this in Chinese as well as US. All right, guys, so I'm looking through the specifications on this thing, and it's pretty amazing. You see right here in the front, it says it's got a 300 amp BMS, which is a lot of power delivery. Yes, you're gonna wanna run 4-aught cables if you're hooking this up to a system. And remember I said this thing is heavy? It's definitely heavy. It weighs 153.99 pounds. So let's just say 154 pounds. It was a struggle if you saw me putting it up here on the countertop. Now this thing can store 8,038 watt hours at full capacity. And they're saying that at an 80% depth of discharge, you should get over 6,000 cycles with this, which makes sense to me. This thing is just really robust built. It does have low temperature protection and high temperature protection. It's got 8 different protection circuits in there to make sure that you really don't hurt this battery, unless you do something really stupid, which none of us would do, right? Now, the other thing that's really cool about this is it does have the Bluetooth monitoring. So we just took it out of the box, and these things should ship at about a 50% discharge. I'm gonna see if I can't go ahead and download the app to my iPad. We'll connect and we'll see what it says. All right, guys, so I actually have 2 different WattCycle batteries here that have Bluetooth capabilities. So I've hooked them both up. And I'm doing this screen recording here of the app. So I've got the WattCycle app downloaded, and I can choose the battery. Now this big battery is the 21B9. So I connect there. It asks if I want to connect to Bluetooth, and I hit allow. It takes a few moments, and then this screen comes up. And it shows me my state of charge. It shows me down here temperatures, 13.2 volts. It seems like it's discharging at a 0.4 amps and 5.3 watts. But if you look at this area in the middle here, this is all just kind of useless. I can't do anything here. Now I can hit charging and it says setting successfully, and it tells me that I've got it in a charging mode, which I've never had to do that with a battery before. So I don't know whether I need a charging mode per se. I can also come here and hit discharging and put discharging mode on, and then I can turn them back off. And I just don't quite understand the point in that. Now, other than that, I can't see much. I think, if I hit the temperature thing, it'll show me the individual cell temperatures, which is kind of nice. And if I hit, there was something else that I got it to do a moment ago. Yeah, it seems relatively useless. Now, if I hit about and go to settings, I can see a lot of the settings in here. You know, the max charge voltage is 14.6, match charging current 310, sleep wait time. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff here that I can see, but not any real changes or monitoring that I can do. So I wasn't real happy with that app, so I found a video on YouTube that showed to use a BMS app. So I searched this Meta BMS, and now I've got both of the batteries here installed. I named this one 628 Beast, but when I try to connect to it, it just doesn't seem to want to connect. And I'm having a hard time with this. And if I do this multiple times, it'll allow me to force connect, I think, but it doesn't really make sense to me either. It says timed out. I'm doing this over and over again, and it just won't connect to the battery properly. So see here, forced entry or not, I hit sure. I don't know exactly what that means, but then now it brings me up to this page, but with no real information. I mean, everything here makes no sense. It's like it opened up the app, but it's not actually connected to anything, so it makes no sense. And here I can kind of go through these different settings and stuff, but it just, none of this is working the way that I wanted it to work. And it doesn't matter which battery I go into. So I'm a little confused on that. Now, guys, I know that I'm not very techie, right? So maybe I'm just doing something wrong in that app. I just don't know. So we're going to move on to opening this thing up. I want to see how it's built inside. I'm a little bit curious. So we're probably going to open up these little tabs here. This is avoid the warranty. Let me just see if I can peel them off. I don't know. How good are they adhered? Oh, look at that. Yeah, I guess there's some telltales there. I don't care about no stinking warranty. All right, so we've got it open. It was a little bit challenging to get this off. It was held in with some plastic rivets, but I just had to get a screwdriver and pull them out. But now, looking at the build quality here, guys, I am very, very impressed. I mean, this is what I expect from WattCycle, but this is very nice. Look how everything is bolted in. Look how strong and robust everything is. All the mounting is all metal in here. The temperature sensors and balance leads are all just, they're put in very, very nice. And check out these bus bars going from the actual battery cells to the terminal. That is super heavy duty. It's not a bunch of thin wire, and it's also protected with insulation at the important parts. You can see the BMS down in there. You can even see a little green light where it's powered on because it is Bluetoothing as we speak. And I got to say, it was so much easier to get into this than it was into that 100 amp hour, having to cut all the plastic and, you know, actually trim away. Okay, here is one of the temperature sensors. It's actually glued right to the cells, which is a good thing. There is a seal on top to keep it waterproof. This does burst have valves are covered up, so they've got room to do what they need to do. Which is pretty impressive for a battery that's not sealed in a plastic box. So that could actually be very, very handy if you're going to use it in RV or somewhat outdoor applications. I'm even looking way down in here, and if you look all at the terminals are actually welded on each individual cell. They've got they're actually glued in as well, so they can't solder in there. But even if you look at the wire routing, everything is neatly routed, zip tied together, and it's just nothing's loose and flopping around. Everything is very well secured. I'm really impressed. I don't know that that would make much sense. Well, and the nice thing about this being so easy to disassemble, it's going to be every bit as easy. Now, I know that most of us aren't going to get into like rebuilding a battery like this, but the way this is designed with these hold downs in here and everything bolted together, if you had to take this thing apart and do repair, do it. So yeah, reassembly was very, very simple. Now, I actually had every intention of doing a few other tests with this, but I wanted to be hooked to the Bluetooth, and I wanted to actually hook up the battery chargers and bring it up to full capacity, because right now it looks like it's about 61% or so. And I wanted to be able to see that charging voltage coming in and like the estimated time. I wanted to really play with the Bluetooth functions a little bit more. And then I was going to do a full capacity test on it. But here's the thing. At 620 amp hours, and all I have is my little capacity tester here, it'll take days. I mean, days for this to test the capacity on it. I don't know if we got that kind of time right now, so maybe that'll have to be in an upcoming test. Like I said, as expected, I am extremely pleased with the build quality of the WattCycle battery. This thing is just amazing, and I have no reason to doubt its capacity, even though we didn't get to that point in this video yet. Now, what makes this battery really cool is that it is a one battery with this kind of amp hour. So if you didn't want to string batteries together in series or parallel, you just wanted one battery at 12 volt to run your RV or whatever it is that you want to do, but you need capacity. This is a very simple way of doing it. Just one battery. You only have one set of cables going from this to your inverter or whatever your power supply is. This really simplifies an install process. You know, currently in Goliath, I have two 12 volt batteries that are much lower capacity than this, but put together, they're still less of a capacity than this. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually take up more room than this. Plus I had to have the second set of battery cables. Now that ends up equaling some cost savings, because right now on the WattCycle website, you can still run this battery up to four of them in two batteries that I have in Goliath in series. So you could actually have together cost me a lot more than hour. So this is actually really affordable, even though $999 in that, which is an expensive battery. But it's a great value for what you're getting, especially considering this level of build quality. This is just an awesome battery. And also, right now, WattCycle has got some really cool Black Friday specials going on. I know they have a pre-Black Friday sale going on, which is probably going to be expired by the time you see this, but I think they got some other sales coming up. So make sure you go there and check it out. Now, the WattCycle does really, really good with stuff like that, and the customer support is top notch. I've actually sold quite a few batteries through my affiliate link there, and I appreciate it. That if you're interested in something like this, go use my link, which will be in the description below. You're going to get the great savings on the battery, especially with the Black Friday sales, but you're also going to support the channel in doing so, because I do get a small commission off of every purchase that's used with my link. Now, I do also want to say that WattCycle did not pay me to make this video. They did send me the battery to review, and I do have a use for this battery, so there is value in that, but they don't police anything that I say. If I don't like something, I share it. If I do like something, I share it. I.e., I love the build quality of this. I wasn't happy with the applications to monitor the Bluetooth. Maybe I can find a solution for that in the future. But the quality of the battery is what's really important to me. And I hope that you guys find interest in that. So anyway, this is a great value for what you get. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I've got a really, really great idea that I'm going to use. So if you're interested in buying a lithium battery, this is the time to do it. WattCycle's got the lowest prices of the year going on right now. And I'd also like to encourage you to follow WattCycle on their social medias because they are constantly doing giveaways and you could be the next winner. They've actually done giveaways on our channel before, and we've actually been able to see those winners receive those products and put them to good use, which is awesome. You could be the next one. And also keep an eye out. They are coming out with a rack mounted battery. I assume they mean a server rack style battery. And I think that would be really cool. And it's going to be at an insanely low price of like $699.99. And with their build quality, I'm pretty sure it's going to kind of take over and be one of the most affordable server